Namaste everyone. Myself Dr. Prayaga Prasanna, yoga and naturopathy physician. So I've learned meditation through my father at the age of 10 years. From then I've been practicing meditation. I have recently completed my masters in naturopathy. I have done my bachelor's in naturopathy and yogic sciences. So naturopathy and yoga is all about treating a patient without any drugs. It's a drugless medicine. And we propagate that prevention is better than cure. And I personally believe that our thoughts, our actions, our intentions, and our diet patterns, our lifestyle, everything will show both positive and negative impact on our health and disease. So every Monday hereafter, 5 to 6 p.m., we'll be talking about return to nature. So each day I'll be coming with a new topic every Monday. So today's topic is early to bed and early to rise. So let us know what are the benefits of early to rise. Why should one get up early in the morning? And how can one sleep early so that he can get up early? Yes, I'll be presenting my screen. Early to bed, early to rise. What is it about? So we all know, most of the times what is lacking in our life, that is sleep element. So we all eat at time, we all roam to our favorite places, we all meet our favorite people. But question yourself whether are you giving the sufficient rest needed for your body? Are you giving enough sleep for your body? Are you sleeping properly? Just question yourself. So let us talk about it today. Sleep accounts for 1/4 to 1/3 of our human lifespan. But what exactly happens in sleep? So before, till 1950s, everyone thought that sleep is a passive activity and where body and mind are, brain and dormant. But later on, we understood there are some changes happening in sleep also. And it's a period, sleep is a period during which the brain will engage in many necessary activities which are necessary for our life, so that they will be closely linked to our quality of life. If you ask me what is this quality of life, qualities of life is nothing but living life to the fullest, doing any activity of ours efficiently without support of anyone. So that is what quality of life is. And the sleep and quality of life are directly proportional to each other. If our sleep is reduced, so even our quality of life will be reduced. If our sleep is proper, our quality of life will be proper. Throughout our sleep span, our brain will cycle repeatedly through two different states of sleep, two different types of sleep. One is rapid eye movement, the another one is non-rapid eye movement sleep. So this non-rapid eye movement sleep has got 4 stages, where the first stage is between being awake and falling asleep. For example, now I want to sleep. So it's a state between where I want to sleep, between I will sleep. The state of being awake and falling asleep. And the second stage is when our heart rate, and our breathing rate will be regulated and our body temperature drops, which means we are falling into the sleep. And the third and fourth stages are deep sleep. And the research says those people who will stay in this third and fourth stage of sleep for more time are actually considered to be healthy people. So if you are unable to stay in this third and fourth stage of sleep, which means deep sleep, which means you are not sleeping properly at all, your sleep is not very deep. And what is this? Through rapid eye movement sleep, usually before, researchers thought that this rapid eye movement sleep is very much needed for our learning, for our memory. But the recent research says no, we need non-rapid eye movement sleep, which is very much important for us to restore, to even encourage our body's processes, body's healing capacity, or body's inherent capacity. So this non-rapid eye movement, as I've said, deep sleep plays a very major role. As you cycle into rapid eye movement sleep, the eyes will rapidly move behind the closed eyelids, and the brain waves are just like similar like how, when you are wakeful. So there is no much difference. Breath rate increases and the body becomes temporarily paralyzed, as if we are like in a dream state. So it is very much important to have non-rapid eye movement sleep, and especially deep sleep, for us to be healthy, basically. So what is the optimal duration? So according to the research, again, they say in newborns, it is 16 to 18 hours, whereas preschool age children, it is 11 to 12 hours, whereas school aged children, it is at least 10 hours. For teenagers again, so at least as per my, when I meet patients, I always tell at least have 6 to 8 hours of good sleep. It is very much needed for us. What is the importance of sleep? Why do you think we need sleep? Is it really required? Is it really needed? So what and all does sleep do for us, for our body? The first thing is it boosts our memory. So we say to children, you sleep well. If you don't sleep well, how much ever you study for the exam, you may tend to forget the next day in your exam. Is it not? Why is it happening? Because in sleep, all those changes happen within us, within our brain, so that we will remember whatever we have studied previous day or before the exam. So one of the vital role of sleep is to take care of our memory, to consolidate our memories. So as we go from the time we get up in the morning till we sleep, our brain takes in an incredible amount of information. So much of information it takes in. But rather than being directly logged and instead of recording it directly, what it does is it has to undergo some process and then stored. So for this process to happen and for our memory to get stored, there are some, steps which happen, and these steps happen especially in sleep. Overnight, what happens, bits and pieces of information, they are transferred from short-term memory to stronger and longer term memory, which is called as consolidation. So short-term memory we tend to forget, very soon. For example, if a person is too much stressed and he reads something, he tends to forget it very soon. We see few students, they just mug it up before exam, they go back, write the exam. Soon after the exam, if you ask them, what did you write, they tend to forget. So that is what, it's short-term memory. They couldn't remember for a longer time. So short-term memory is not correct. We have to remember things for a longer duration, is it not? So concentration, memory power, attention, all these things matters for us. So sleep will help us to consolidate memories into longer and longer term memories. Research also says that people who sleep, they tend to retain the information and perform better on memory tasks. So it is always said, sleep properly, have good sleep, so that you will be able to memorize things faster. So this is what will happen when we sleep, when we give sufficient enough rest to our body itself, our brain cells itself take care that we will remember whatever we have studied or whatever knowledge we have acquired during that day. Imagine if you don't have that sleep at all. So whatever you have gone through in the morning, from morning till evening, everything just vanishes, or it will stay like a short-term memory. So it is up to you whether you want your memory or your information to be in the terms of short-term memory or long-term memory. So for the information to be for a long-term memory, definitely you have to sleep well. Next, fights against infection. So for example, I go out, I get exposed to sometimes many bacteria or some antigens which are not required for the body, which are against the body actually. They may harm our body. And nature is so beautiful. Our body is a beautiful machine. So whenever we get in touch with any antigen, our body will respond. Our body will make sure that that particular antigen will not affect us. So when will this happen? When you have strong immunity. your immunity should be higher, only then all these things will happen. And initially there is something called first line of defense, where your skin or your mucous membrane or your tears or the stomach acids will all act whenever some antigen enters our body by mistake, either in the form of sneezing or either in the form of watery eyes or either in the form of diarrhea or vomiting. Our body will try to push that out, push that organism, microorganism or an antigen which is not needed for us. But sometimes when our first line of defense doesn't work properly, we have second line of defense, which is called inflammation. So what happens here, this inflammation will trigger some chemicals called cytokines. So these cytokines are released. What are these cytokines? They are very cell signaling molecules that aid cell to cell communication. They will make sure that there will be a communication between one cell to another. One cell will respond to another, and all these cells will respond to the antigen which is not needed for the body. Imagine an antigen enters and our cells doesn't react. What happens? It will attack our immune system. So these cytokines make sure that it will stimulate the movement of cells towards the site of some infection or trauma, and they get released, and our immune system will do its job. They will try to convey to our immune system, oh immune system, please be sharp, be active. We got something which is not needed for our body, we don't need it, please send it out quickly. That is what cytokines do. They also affect growth of all blood cells and other cells which help body's immune system or body's immune responses. They also boost anti-cancer activity by sending signals that can help make abnormal cells die. Abnormal cells die in the sense those cells which are not normal, those cells which are not needed for the body, they will be killed, and normal cells are made to live longer. So all this function is taken care by cytokine. How will it make sure? It will either make sure directly by, it will just block the viral replication. It will make sure that viruses are not growing inside our body directly, or it will release some mechanisms which will activate our natural killer cells in our body. Natural killer cells, again, they will protect us against that particular antigen. So all these things happen inside our body, trust me. Our body will react, and it is like a war. It will be very sharp, it will be very active when something which is not needed for us has entered our body. But imagine, what if you don't have sleep at all? So research says, the present study says, amount of sleep loss impacts our nocturnal secretion of the cytokines. Nocturnal secretion in the sense, nighttime secretion of these cytokines. Research says during your sleep, this particular cytokine function is increased, and it will help us to improve our immune system. It will help us to strengthen our immune system. Imagine if you don't sleep at all, if you don't give rest to your body at all, if you don't listen to your body needs at all. Sometimes we'll be so tired, we will really get yawning, we will rub our eyes, sometimes we get watery eyes. We just don't care about all that. We neglect all the body's ways of expressing. Body will express us in many ways, but we will neglect it, we will avoid it, thinking our other works are more important than sleep. But never do that. Our sleep is more important than all these things. Just answer me this: can you do any of your work if you do not have health at all? If you are deceased, can you go to your office? Can you talk to your friends? Can you watch television? Can you roam outside? You can't do any of these things if you are not healthy. So for you to be healthy, for you to be immune strong, basically to improve your immunity, to strengthen your immunity, you need good sleep. You need good night sleep and deep sleep. What about neuroplasticity then? Most of the times we all think the cells which have come through our birth, from the time of our birth, whatever the cells our body consists of, it may remain the same till we die. No, that's not the case. Our cells have got the ability to form new cells. Our cells, all the cells of our body will form new cells. It is not that we will remain with the same old cells till we die. Neuroplasticity is nothing but ability of the body to create new cells, to form new cells. So neuroplasticity is ability of the brain to form new cells. And research says today meditation, good sleep, deep sleep improves white matter structure in the brain. It will change the structure of the brain. So many researchers say that. So lack of sleep is basically known to lead to increased mood variability. So you might have observed any of your family friends, whenever they do not have proper sleep, they tend to shout at you more compared to any other day. Is it not? So why is it like that? Any idea? So you either get irritated more, or you get angry more, or you either cry faster. You will feel low very quickly whenever you don't have good sleep. So let us see how. So they have done a research, 45 healthy individuals, they have taken MRI, and a few days later participants returned to the lab where they stayed awake overnight. They were made not to sleep overnight, and they completed an assignment of their mood every hour between 7:15 to p.m. to 11:15 a.m. till next day. So their mood assessment, whether they are feeling too much angry, whether they are feeling irritated, or how is their mood level, how everything were being asked in the form of questionnaire. And the research found that participants with great white matter compactness, the closedness of the structure of this white matter, tend to display a greater ability to sustain a positive mood even during sleep deprivation. A person with white matter compactedness will be positive even if he has sleep deprivation. And meditation or deep sleep, all these things helps us to improve and increase our white matter compactness. There essentially we have two types of tissues in our brain. One is gray matter, another one is white matter. So this white matter, what it does, it is made up of long fibers that connect brain cells together. So all these brain cells should be together. So we found that, the researchers found that the compactness of white matter is greatly associated with the resilience to the mood degradation induced by 24 hours of sleep deprivation. So all the people who have got white matter compactness more were not too much irritated or were not too much angry even after having sleep deprivation. So people with, that's what it is said. Whereas when you do not have this white matter more in your brain, or when it is reduced because of n number of reasons, there are chances for you to get irritated fast, anger fast. So all these things will happen. So when you don't sleep properly, what happens? You may get, you may tend to be more irritative or more angry on people around you. So for you to be calm, for you to be cool, and for you to be stressless, you must definitely have a good night's sleep. So how do you think this, sleep deprivation will cause any disease? So we have something called HPA axis, hypothalamo-pituitary adrenal axis. So what happens is, anytime we take stress in our life, during our lifetime, stress is one of, there are two types of stress: positive stress and negative stress, eustress and distress. Definitely we have to take positive stress, only then we will reach our goal, we will move towards our goal. But we are not supposed to take this distress, the negative stress, which is not good for our body. So whenever we take stress, particular hormones release from the hypothalamus, then that particular hormone will again impact on pituitary. Again, pituitary will release another hormone again on the adrenals, and again adrenals will release few other hormones. So all these things will later lead to what? It will just reduce our metabolic and immunological effects. And we have something called autonomic nervous system. It is divided into sympathetic nervous system and parasympathetic nervous system. So if you observe, parasympathetic nervous system takes care of, rest, we being calm, rest and digest. That is its role. So whenever you are cool, whenever you are calm, which means your parasympathetic nervous system is influenced. So what about sympathetic nervous system? It is a key to the survival in crisis situations. For example, just imagine one person coming and hitting you. So you try to escape, is it not? You would not like to stay in that place and get hittings. You would like to escape from that place. So while escaping, what happens? your heartbeat may increase, or you may get tensed, or you may end up with sweating. All these things will happen. All these things are responsible by our sympathetic nervous system. It will make sure that it will help us during our crisis situations. But during this, what happens, there will be release of few stress hormones. Cortisol is a stress hormone which gets released, and which may lead to increased blood pressure, increased heart rate, or it leads to immune suppression. It will suppress our immune activity. The sympathetic nervous system is one more, it is called as fight and flight reaction. We either fight with the person, or we either just fly off from there, or we fright. Sometimes we may get scared also. So all these responses are taken care by our sympathetic nervous system. So every process of the body and brain which is necessary for long-term health is suspended temporarily. So imagine, so I cannot think too much about my long-term health. Presently, I have to run from that person. So my sympathetic nervous system says, you run from there, don't stand, he may come and kill you. So in the process of this, what happens? I am survived there, I am saved at that moment, but my long-term health is disappointed because my heart rate improves, my blood rate, everything increases. I get tensed, I get, nervous, everything. Our immune system will be depressed there, everything is happening, which means what? It is suspending our long-term effect temporarily. There is no doubt in it, there is no worry in it if it is suspended temporarily. But imagine if you stay in the same state of mind throughout the day. If you stay in the same stressful state of mind throughout the day, in the same irritated state of mind throughout the day, in the same angry state of mind throughout the day, what happens? So continuous suppression of our immunity, continuous raise in our heart rate, continuous raise in our blood sugar levels, everything is happening continuously, which will definitely show negative impact on our health, which may lead us to some non-communicable diseases, or which may lead us to sleeplessness or hypertension or diabetes. So sleep deprivation is interpreted as, stress by the body. The body, when you don't sleep properly, the body considers it as stress. And when you take stress, what happens? There will be stress hormones released, and during which our body's immune system will be suppressed. And it also leads to many multiple systemic effects. As I've said, elevations in our serum glucose level, heart rate, etc. Sometimes it may affect our brain also. So the effect of SNS, sympathetic nervous system activation, also results in increased activation of amygdala. So amygdala, limbic system, what is all this is? Amygdala is one part of our brain, one part which takes care of our emotions. It can be fear, it can be anger. It is basically seat of emotions. So what happens when sympathetic nervous activity is increased, even the amygdala activity is increased, which means you are more tend to become fearful. You are more tend to become more stressful, more angry. So all these things will definitely affect our health. So research says when you sleep well and when you don't take stress, there will be rest and digest, which will work continuously in our body. So you will be calm and cool, and your immunity will not be deprived, and your physiological changes, there will not be abnormal physiological changes in your body. How do you think the regulation of sleep happens? We have to understand about circadian rhythm. It is very much important. So circadian rhythm is nothing but which is controlled by biological clock located in the brain. So basically pineal gland takes care of it. The pineal gland is very much aware of light. So whenever there is light, this pineal gland will not release melatonin hormone. And we need melatonin hormone to get good sleep. Imagine if you switch on lights till 12 a.m. in the night, 1 a.m. in the night, 2 a.m. in the night, what happens? You will not feel like to sleep. You won't get sleep, is it not? So only when that particular hormone releases, you will get sleep. When will that particular hormone called melatonin will release? Only when you switch off the lights. When there is light on, that particular hormone may not release. So what you have to do, switch off your lights, make your room dark, so that that particular hormone will release and you will end up with good sleep. If already our biological system has prepared itself in such a way, our hormones have spoken to each other, okay, I will release in the morning, you release in the night, let us not clash with each other. So for example, we have a boss at our office, we have few colleagues, we are all given separate assignments and tasks. Imagine if I do yours or you do mine, how would it be? There is no coordination, is it not? And always success comes when a group success comes when you have coordination between all your team members along with your boss, is it not? Only then you can be successful in your office as a whatever work you do, whatever profession you are in. When will you become successful? When you have coordination with the people surrounding you. Imagine you are trying to control your hormone regulation here. So melatonin is one hormone which is supposed to be released in the night when it is dark, and you are not keeping yourself in a dark room. You switch on your lights till 2 a.m. in the morning. How do you think this hormone will release? So don't you think you are going against the nature? Nature already has set us a way. Nature has, God has created this beautiful machine. It has got so many biological processes. It does so many functions throughout the day, throughout our lives, from the time we are born till we die. And we try to go against the nature, and we try to wake up in the nights, and we try to sleep in the morning. What do you think will happen to these hormones? The thing which is supposed to be released in the night will release in the morning. The thing which is supposed to be, the hormone which is supposed to be released in the morning, will be released in the night. So do you think this is healthy? This is the way we are supposed to be? Question yourself. One more thing, there is something called sleep drive also. So basically, whenever you are hungry, body can't force you. Your body just suffers. It will be hungry, it will be starving, and out of busy schedule, you won't feed your stomach. So body will be suffering. Leave about it. But sleep is not like that. 2 days you don't sleep, body will be angry on you. It's like, okay, I will only nap. What if she doesn't sleep, by herself? I will only do it. Body will automatically, there will be a small nap. Whenever we are exhausted, body will tend to engage in micro sleep, episode of 1 or 2 seconds while your eyes are open. Have you seen any people sleeping with eyes open? Which means they are too much strained. They are too much, stressed themselves and not given enough rest needed for the body. And that's the reason body itself will just sleep for some time, take 1-2 minutes of short gap in between. So why should one sleep early and wake up early? That is very much important to know, is it not? So we have all seen how sleep is regulated, what and all hormones are required for the sleep, and what happens in sleep. So we have learned, we have understood that good sleep will help us to boost our memory. We would be able to recollect whatever we have done throughout the day. And good sleep helps us to improve our immunity. Our immunity levels will improve so that we won't get infected very easily. And there is something called neuroplasticity. Changes in the brain structures happen when we are sleeping. So it is very much important to sleep. But what about, whether it is really needed to get up early in the morning? So for you to get up early in the morning, you have to definitely sleep early in the night, is it not? What and all things have to be done so that you will be able to sleep early in the night? First thing is finish off your dinner early. That is very much important. Because we as naturopaths say the difference between your meal, your dinner and your sleep should be at least 2 hours. You cannot sleep as soon as you have intaken the food. Just you intake the food immediately. If you lie down, or you lie down on your abdomen or on your back and you lie down and sleep, there will be hampered digestion. You may not, food may not get digested well. So it is very much important to finish our dinner early so that we will be able to sleep early. That is very much important. Secondly, you have to switch off your lights. Either it can be electricity bulb, or I tell you, even your phone light or your laptop light. Even that small minute amount of light also will not let melatonin to be released. So it is very much important to switch off the lights and keep yourself in a dark room. That is very much important. Third one is listening to a soft music so that you will feel calm, you will feel relaxed, and you tend to fall asleep faster. That is one way of sleeping early. So these are all few tips which will help you to sleep early. So most of the times we neglect our body's needs, our body's way of, it will be expressing in many ways. It will signal us in many ways, but we won't listen to it. Return to our nature, understanding our nature, understanding ourselves and our body needs, so that we will give sufficient rest to it. Is it not? Every mobile we use, every electronic gadget we use, we give rest to it. Is it not? Can you switch on laptops 24 bar 7 bar 365 days bar how many ever years you want? We are not doing that. We switch off the laptop, we turn off the television, we even sometimes switch off our mobile while sleeping. We are switching off everything. Why are we not trying to switch off ourselves, our mind, our brain, our eyes? So it is very much important to sleep. So let us see why one should get up early in the morning. So first one, you might have heard about Brahma Muhurta, or it is called ambrosial hours. So what is this Brahma Muhurta? Brahma means knowledge, Muhurta means time period. So it's a time period perfect to perceive knowledge. So basically, Rishi says that that's the time period where you can perceive as much knowledge as possible. So accordingly, it's like 1.5 hours before sunrise, and few say even from 3 a.m. to 6 a.m. that particular period, last 3 hours of the night, is also called as Brahma Muhurta according to Ayurveda textbooks. Ashtanga Hridayam teaches that there are also ideal times for study and to obtain Brahma or knowledge. So it's a time for you to obtain knowledge. So one person went to Satya Sai Baba, late Satya Sai Baba, and asked, Baba, why should we get up early in the morning? I didn't understand this term at all. Can you please explain me? And then Baba said, it seems, see, look at me. For example, take the example of bank. So we have two kinds of deposits, is it not? Fixed deposit, and one more is saving deposit. Fixed deposit is what, once you fix it, you cannot take it for a longer time, whereas saving, then and there, whenever you want that money, you can just take off. So whatever you do in the morning, it is fixed deposit to your soul. You have to do something to your soul which is fixed deposit, not only for this lifetime, but it is carried for all the next lifetimes also. Whereas whatever you do from the morning 6 a.m. to night till you sleep, it is materialistic. So it may not be spiritual, it is materialistic, but it comes under savings deposit. So then and there you will be using it. The money you earn during that time, or the name and fame you earn during that time, or whatever it is, you just use it then and there for this lifetime. That's all, not beyond this lifetime. But whatever you do in Brahmi Muhurta, Brahma Muhurta, that is for your soul, that is for your evolution of the soul, that is fixed deposit. It is not just for this lifetime, but it is there all the lifetimes. This was told by Satya Sai Baba, and it is so true, is it not? So what you have to spend some time with yourself, you have to know about yourself, and that's the perfect time to know about yourself. Because what happens is, the time we get up, and we just get stressed, we just start with our day, our daily activities, and we may not get time to practice meditation or practice few yoga techniques to calm ourselves, to understand ourselves, or to gain knowledge about our soul. So it's an ideal time to meditate, to obtain knowledge, as the outer environment is serene and the mind will be quieter. So if the outer environment is too much noisy, even we may sometimes tend to get distracted very fastly, is it not? But the outer environment, if it is quiet and if it is peace, even we will feel peace from within. So that is why it is very much important to get up early in the mornings and practice something which goes to your fixed deposit, not to your savings deposit. From morning to night, there are so many demands the world gives us, or sometimes we give to ourselves. So either it is fulfilling our professional life, our social life, our family responsibilities, and only some time is left for us in the night, soon after we come back from workplace to house. But then again, we will spend that time watching television, or chit-chatting with friends, or talking with our family, or sometimes we get tired and we sleep off. So there is no actual time for ourselves. Are you all giving time to yourself? Answer, I don't think so. Maximum of us don't have, and most of the times, if we teach meditation to someone, what is the first thing they tell us? Sorry, madam, or sorry, sir, we don't have time to meditate. So, have you ever heard people saying that? So, people think they don't have time for themselves. So, it is not having time. Basically, you are not scheduling some time for yourself. Scheduling some time for yourself, keeping it for yourself, for your evolution is very much important. Don't you think it is in our hands? Me meditating or not, is it not in my hands, or is it in your control? Tell me, you meditating or not, or you spending some time for yourself, is it in my hands? Am I taking control of it in any way? I don't think so. So each one of us are equally responsible for our soul evolution, for us to give sometimes for ourselves. Is it not? It is so much important. So that is the reason once we get up early in the morning, we'll be aware, we will be very, fresh. We will feel fresh so that we will get some time to practice meditation or yoga, something for our soul. According to International Journal of Yoga and Elite Sciences, they say pre-dawn period, that is 3 to 6 a.m. before sunrise, there is availability of nascent oxygen in the atmosphere. So what happens when we inhale that? This nascent oxygen easily mixes with our hemoglobin in our blood, forming oxyhemoglobin. And this oxyhemoglobin has got these many benefits. It will boost our immune system. It will increase our energy levels. It will help us to maintain the blood pH. Blood pH, it is acidic and alkaline. It is very much important to maintain our blood pH. We should not go into acidic level. So if we go into acidic pH level, we may tend to get more diseases. So it is very much important to balance our blood pH. And also it will enhance the absorption of vitamins and minerals. Most of the times, how much ever we eat, we feel tired, we feel, we look thin, we look malnourished. Why is it happening? Because your body is unable to absorb the vitamins and minerals which you are feeding in the form of food. So with this nascent oxygen, oxyhemoglobin, it will also enhance our absorption of minerals and vitamins. So what are the do's and don'ts during this period? So I have referred Art of Living, Ravi Shankar Guruji says, you should not eat during this period. So when I ask you, get up early in the morning by 4 a.m., I'm not saying you to eat as soon as you get up. But what you should do? You should read some books or listen to music, acquire knowledge. Either you do Shravana, Manana, Niridhyasana, we say in yoga. So you either listen to good speech, good people who speak some spiritual knowledge. You can listen to their speeches, audios, or you can either read some books, or you can remember your parents or guru, smarana, or you can plan your day. How do you want your day, or introspect basically. Most of the problems will stop the moment you introspect yourself. Because most of the times we worry thinking, why is that person not listening to us, or why is this person not listening or not up to my mark of expectations. So the moment you introspect yourself and understand, okay, I have to first listen to myself, I have to change from within first, then automatically the whole world looks beautiful. Is it not? So introspection should happen. And do you have time to introspect? Let us be all frank to ourselves. Please say to yourself, whether are you introspecting yourself every day? Are you getting some time? Are you giving some time to your own self to introspect? It is always said, don't compare yourself with somebody else who is outside you, but compare yourself from what you were yesterday to what you are today to what you want to become tomorrow. Is it not? Is it not very important? So this introspection, when will it happen? When you give some time to yourself. That time, it is best when you give during your morning hours, Brahma Muhurta. According to Sant Ajit Singh Ji Maharaj, he says, like how usually in all the temples or any holy place to worship the God, it is cleaned properly, and the temples are all cleaned in the mornings if you observe. One more thing is, God is within us, is it not? And we all must also remove our worldly thoughts which doesn't come under our fixed deposit. Those thoughts should always be removed, and all the bad things from our within has to be cleaned. Is it not? We just have to wipe them away, like how we wipe the dust with broomstick. Like the same way, we have to wipe all our negative thoughts, all our unwanted thoughts, all our rubbish and stupid thoughts. So when will that happen? When will you give your time? In the morning, as soon as you get up early in the morning at 4 a.m., you can do it by practicing meditation. You will be able to remove all your negative thoughts. Is it not? You, by practicing yoga, you will try to purify your body, mind, and soul. By practicing pranayama, breathing techniques, you will learn to take care of your body in a better way. So the beloved who is within you is always awake. So you should also get up early in the morning. Is it not? So sleep, since the daytime sleep is not actually appropriate for sadhana. For example, in the afternoon, if I close my eyes, I may think of 100 thoughts. Is it not? Whether I have finished cooking or not, whether my children have eaten or not, whether my husband, how is my husband in office, or whether how are my parents, my in-laws, my friends, etc., etc. We will get hundreds of thoughts. We cannot idle, or we cannot quiet our mind. The best time to meditate, the best time to introspect, it is in the mornings during Brahma Muhurta. This is one more interesting thing which I found, that is the law of macrocosm and microcosm. So it's very easy. I would like to tell you. So according to law of microcosm and macrocosm, everything that exists in the external universe, that is macrocosm is the external universe, the same thing also appears in the microcosm, that is in the human body. So the human body is called microcosm and the external universe is called macrocosm. So Charaka Samhita, according to Ayurveda texts, man is the epitome of the universe, and there is in man as such diversity as in the world outside, and there is in the world as much diversity as in the man. This is so beautiful, is it not? So whatever is within is there outside also, and whatever is outside is also there within us. It is same, is it not? So when I get aligned with the universe, the harmony will be happening in a greater way. So that's what we all say, return to nature. Don't go against nature, and return back to nature is nothing but understanding the one which is outside me is same as the one which is inside me. The one who is inside me, or the things which are happening inside, are the same as of things which are happening outside. The moment we understand this, we will try to be in harmony with ourselves as well as with the universe, as well as with the people around us. If everything exists in the macrocosm, exists in the microcosm, then the reverse is also same, which means everything which occurs within is also there outside. Is it not? So I'll tell you one example. Most of the times what happens, whenever there is summer season, outside, we tend to get few rashes or few heat boils out of heat. Is it not? Which means what? Externally it is hot, internally also our body has become heat. Imagine if it is a winter season, there is so much cold outside. Sometimes you will fall sick, even you will end up with cold or sneezing. Is it not? Which means even internally also there is same change happening which is happening outside. This is the best example of what is existing within is same that of what is existing outside. So one more is, we are all made up of Panchamahabhutas, is it not? Earth, water, fire, air, and ether, all human bodies. So according to Ayurveda, according to naturopathy, we believe that human body comprises of these 5 elements. And Ayurveda, they say also they have governing forces called doshas, Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. Vata represents movement, Pitta represents transformation, and Kapha the structure. So the same 5 elements and the 3 doshas which make up the universe and human beings, it is same. Those same 5 elements and 3 doshas are made outside, as well as they have made this human body also. They act in the same manner in both. It can be either in the universe, that is macrocosm, or it can be either in the human body, that is microcosm. As I've said, example of winter and summer. And so which means what? The macrocosm of the planetary environment is affecting the microcosm of the human environment. The external environment, macrocosm, is having impact on the internal environment, that is microcosm. So what about microcosm being affecting the macrocosm? You might have heard about this theory, the butterfly flapping theory. So butterfly flaps its wings in some part of the world, and this will affect the weather patterns on a very far away continent. So what is this? Microcosm is affecting the macrocosm. So we have so many other examples also. And one more thing here is there is 24-hour cycle of night giving away to the daytime. What is this? It's a cycle, right? Soon after day, night comes. Soon after night, day comes. And this daily rhythm goes on and on and on for many years. We have few seasons where soon after summer we get rainy season. Soon after rainy season we get winter. Like that we get spring. Like that soon after one season we get another season. There is no gap. It's a continuous cycle. And cycle of years, it just happens where a man undergoes this death and birth process is also like a cycle. We die, we take birth. We all believe that soul doesn't have death. So it may vacate this body at this moment. The body have death, but the soul again, there are chances for the soul to take birth again. It's a continuous process. So the cycle of yuga over yuga, moving from dissolution to the manifested reality. So if this law, if you think this law of macrocosm and microcosm is so valid, so definitely we can also make sure that we can affect the macrocosm of a lifetime via the microcosm of our 24-hour cycle. I'll tell you how. So how do you combine? You may wonder, why am I talking? How is Brahma Muhurta related to this microcosm and macrocosm theory? So what is this Brahma Muhurta? It's a part of 24-hour time cycle, which means microcosm. Let us relate this now to macrocosm. So if we overlay this 24-hour microcosm over a cycle of lifetime, so what is this 3 a.m. to 6 a.m. will be? It can be a late pregnancy and birth in the life cycle. Got it? So this 24-hour biological cycle is microcosm. So Brahma Muhurta falls under that category. And there is something called microcosm. It's a lifetime. So when we relate these two things, Brahma Muhurta exactly responds to the late pregnancy and birth in the life cycle, which means the 3 a.m. to 6 a.m. will represent, whereas childhood will represent in the morning time, and the midlife of a person can represent the midday, whereas old age or the twilight of life to the late afternoon or through twilight, or death will fall for the night. So this is how it is divided, which means Brahma Muhurta is a time where there is late pregnancy, where a mother is trying, mother maybe in the month of 9th month, or whether the mother is trying to deliver the baby. That is how, where the Brahma Muhurta will fall. So while we can relate the corresponding time pairs, we are interested here of one more thing, that is Brahma. Let us leave about everything else. Let us talk only about Brahma Muhurta and late pregnancy, or relates to the pregnancy and birth. So if you imagine the microcosm of the latter, we would suspect that there are so many deep similarities. So the one most similarity is both the times are governed by Vata. So Vata is what? Movement. So in Ayurveda, Vata, Pitta, Kapha are said to govern certain times of our day. So of the three, Vata governs all these joints. The joint, as I've said, between day and night, between death to birth, so between one season to another season, all these joints, mixing day to night, birth to death, or season to another season, all these things happen because of this Vata. So Vata governs the hours of between 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. in the morning, or through dawn, we can say. So which means what? It is joining the night into the day. And this period is called Brahma Muhurta. So Apana, this is one of the subset of the Vata, which is particularly active during the dawn time. There is one more thing called Prana. So another 5 subsets of Vata. It is mystical and it is practical intelligence, which is responsible for assembling a baby's cells. So in the fetus, when the baby, we all know how an embryo is formed. Later on, it is developed into fetus, and after delivery, we call it as a baby. So until and unless it is in the womb, we call it as fetus. So fetus has, there are so many changes happening every month in the fetus, is it not? Assembling of the cells, tissues, and organs, all these things which happen during pregnancy is taken care by this prana. So it controls the way a body is put together and how it functions once it is assembled. So how is it going to function and how is it going to get assembled? All the tissues, all the cells, all the parts of the body, organs, all these things are taken care by prana. And we have also spoken about apana, another subset of vata. So this apana also is responsible for the delivering the baby into the world. Got it? So what is prana is what? It will take care of to assemble all our parts in the fetus, and apana will make sure that the baby will be very carefully delivered into this world. So we can see there is vata dominant during both the cycles here. Vata in the form of prana, vata in the form of apana throughout our pregnancy for the formation or for the assembling of the baby's parts and for the process of delivering of the baby into the world. All these things taken care by the vata. If the healthy function of prana is assures optimal organization of energy and physical matter in the developing person. So imagine if our prana is healthy, what happens? There is good organization of our energy and there is a proper development in a person. And what if it is healthy apana? It will deliver the complete person into the world into an optimal manner. So even if something goes wrong with this prana or apana, there will be assembling of parts will not happen properly, or the fetus delivering into the world may not happen peacefully. So this prana and apana, both these things will make sure that there is proper developing of the person and there is delivering of the complete person into the world. So these two things are taken care by the vata. So all these things are what? Microcosm. These are all happening outside. So during early morning hours, what happens? There is active prana. So which will take care that our physical and mental pathways, they're all organized properly. Like how it happened during delivery and pregnancy. During delivery and pregnancy, how did it help apana and prana? In the proper assembling of organs, in the proper assembling of cells and tissues, and in the peaceful process of delivery, is it not? So that is microcosm. So when it comes to macrocosm and you see outside what is happening during that hours, if you can relate, it will make sure that it will organize our physical intelligence and mental intelligence properly. Healthy apana will help us to start our day in a smooth manner. It is very much important, is it not? If you get up around 7:30 a.m. and you have to go to office at 8 a.m., imagine within half an hour, would you be able to do things in a peaceful way, in a stressless way? You will be jumping here and there. You will be scolding your parents or your partner or your children. Sometimes you may even scold or shout at your children saying, I'm so busy, can't you look at me? So why is that hurry happening there? Just because you are just getting up half an hour early to your workplace. So what if you get up 3-4 hours early? Everything goes smooth. You would be able to spending some time for yourself and things also will go smooth, and this particular time will help you to enter the day from the night to the day. That joint gap, you will be smoothly entering into the day. That is very much important. Like how, imagine during our mother's 9th month during birth, if that process doesn't happen smoothly, what and all may happen, is it not? Mother may die sometimes, we call it as maternal death, or fetus may die sometimes. Sometimes there will be preterm deliveries. So many abnormal things happen if that process of last stages of pregnancy to birth doesn't happen properly. So who is taking care of all this? Our vata dominance, or vata is taking care of it. Apana, prana are taking care that there is well assemblance and there is proper delivery of that assembled person into the world. So how do you think you can relate it to healing? Let us talk now. So Vata by nature, it is influenced both by negative and positive. Both the ways it is influenced. If the mother is calm and healthy during her pregnancy, Vata will optimally function and the fetus development will be good and the birth process will happen in a healthy manner. But if the Vata is disturbed during pregnancy, there will be chances, negative impact on the child. So according to many systems of medicine, it can be Ayurveda, Chinese, East Western medicine, all these things say any trauma or discomfort during the pregnancy or during the delivery will have definitely bad impact on the baby throughout the life. It can be either in the form of physical impairment or mental impairment or emotional impairment, but definitely it will show negative impact on the baby's life. So according to Ayurveda, and many doctors say the mother's diet, mother's lifestyle, the environment she is living in, all these plays a very major role and it will influence pregnancy and birth. So does that mean something which we had no control over as a developing fetus or an infant will negatively affect for our rest of the lives? Just because it happened, 20 years back now, say for example, you are 20 years old, something happened 20 years back, some defect happened or some changes happened which are not supposed to happen. Can you just blame someone or can you just blame yourself? Definitely no. You need not to feel bad for what has happened, but we have seen, now we have found out a connection, is it not, for our microcosm to the macrocosm. So if you can understand this window, there is a link between what is happening inside to what is happening outside. What will we do? We will make sure that we will take this opportunity to reformat those early patterns and we try to heal our negative changes. We try to heal ourselves. We will try to remove those negative changes. So every day morning, we all have got an opportunity to establish healthy pathways. So which will, you can either replace the negative ones which were created during pregnancy and childbirth. Is it not? So it's an opportunity. Every day is an opportunity for all of us and every new morning is an opportunity to establish a healthy pathway. It is up to you whether you will sleep till 8 a.m. or it is up to you whether you will get up early in the morning, finish all your nature calls, sit upright, meditate, close your eyes, or you will perform yoga or breathing exercise, or whether you will go for a walk in nature. All these things are up to you. Whether you are going to change your life or whether you want to keep on blaming people around you who are responsible for this birth and continue your life in depression or sadness. Is it not? So the moment you understand the concept of microcosm to macrocosm and our relation between this Brahma Muhurta to our pregnancy, late pregnancy and childbirth, you will be excited to understand and know the beauty of the connection between microcosm to macrocosm. All that which is outside is within us, all that which is within us is outside. So it is up to you, how are you going to change things within yourself. So each day is again will give you new possibilities. It will shower with second chances. So it is up to you whether you will remain lazy or it is up to you whether you will be active and you will do something for your soul evolution, or whether it is up to you whether you will try to remove those negative blocks, erase all those negative things and cherish new life. That's the reason saints have told us, take advantage of these 3 hours, take advantage of this Brahma Muhurta and meditate in these hours. We also see, I've heard from my childhood, Patriji always says morning hours are the best. And I've seen my parents getting up early in the morning around 4 a.m., 4:35 and practicing meditation and yoga. So it is very much important to get up early in the morning and, try to evolve ourselves by doing something which is helping us to develop our soul, not for the sake of materialistic purpose, but things which are helping for your soul to evolve. Those things should be definitely practiced during that time. So again, according to acupuncture, traditional Chinese medicine, here is another concept which says exploring the 24-hour qi clock. So according to this, we have few terms called diurnal, nocturnal. Diurnal is something which is active during the daytime, and nocturnal is something which is active during the nighttime. So together it's a 24-hour cycle. But according to traditional Chinese medicine, they don't see that just as a day, but that is something time for them. It is more precious to them. So this is known as qi clock. So sometimes, see, I have a question for you. Do you wake up every night or every morning about the same time? Have you ever wondered why? Most of the times it is nature's way to wake you up. So every morning, we will get up definitely at 5 a.m. I'm pretty sure most of us will at least open our eyes and check the timing, what is the time. And it will be around between 4 to 6 a.m. And again, we will switch off our alarms. We just cover our blankets and we sleep off. So our nature is not that. Have you ever seen our parents at least sleeping till 7:38, 9 a.m.? But why today's generation, today's children are sleeping till 9 a.m.? Because we are against nature. Our ancestors, our elders, they were towards nature. They were towards nature, and they used to get up early in the morning and do something for their evolution. But whereas now we will not like it. We will sleep till 8:30, 9 a.m. in the morning without even wondering what are we doing. We don't even introspect ourselves. Is it the right way? What I'm doing, is it right? We don't even ask ourselves. We just think whatever we do is awesome, whatever we do is perfect. But I don't think so. Whatever we are doing is perfect. It is absolutely wrong. So in Chinese medicine, if you deeply think, what happens is there are 12 energy meridians, and each meridian will be active for 2 hours in a day. Okay, so each of the meridian assigned a 2-hour time slot. For example, when you take liver, it will be more active between 1 a.m. to 3 a.m. So during this 24 hours energy, our chi, what happens is it will move through all the organ systems in these 2 hours. That particular organ will be very active in a way it performs its functions. So by mid-afternoon, same thing. As the day passes, again, we will prepare the mind for the nocturnal phase, where the body wants to restore and maintain its, health. So this is the summary of 24-hour chi cycle. If you observe, 3 a.m. to 5 a.m. we have lung time, and 5 a.m. to 7 a.m. is large intestine time. That's the reason we say get up early in the morning, do pranayama. What happens when you inhale good positive air? Because it's lung time, your lungs are functioning in the highest efficiency during that time. You would be able to feel good air. And what is large intestine time? That's the time you are supposed to actually clean your bowels, because that's the time your bowels are actively working. We actually tend to feel stomach bulge before 7 a.m. only, but we will try to suppress it. We will make sure that we won't get up and pass our bowels. How many of you do this? I see most of the times patients say, yes ma'am, we do feel that our stomach is actually churning inside. It is asking us to go to washroom, but we don't go. The body's internal clock is so well developed, so well maintained, and is already organized in a beautiful manner. But what happens is we are trying to suppress it. We are trying to go against it. So the moment it gives some message, we will not receive that message. We will just walk back. And what if you walk back for many years? Your immunity will be suppressed. You taking care of things or you memorizing things will reduce. You will tend to forget things sooner, because your cells are not repairing. Your body is not restoring the energy. And what happens if this 5 to 7 a.m. time, if you neglect for more days, you'll end up with indigestion. You'll end up with constipation, because body wants to throw out the fecal matter, and you want to hold it. You want to hold your urine sometimes also, just because you don't want to get up and disturb your sleep. What happens if you do this for many years? One day, even if you really want to pass stool by yourself at morning 5 a.m., it will not happen, because body is already habituated. So we all work in the nights, we sleep in the mornings, or we do so many things against nature. We use phones till 1 a.m. in the night. We play video games. We talk with people till 12 a.m., 1 a.m. in the night. I don't say that we should not talk to people. We must do care people around us. But also, more than everything, we must self-care. We must know our limitations, when you should give rest to the body and when you should be active. So sleep is so much important for our body. So that's the reason I say you must sleep properly. So I would like to end with one thing. Me plus self-care plus professional care plus community is only whole health. So I have to take care of myself first, and I have to take care of my profession. Only when I'm healthy, I would be able to give my best to the profession, is it not? If not, I would not be able to give. I will go there, but I will doze off, or if someone boss says something, I may not be doing it efficiently. So only when I am healthy, I will be able to do the best in my office. Only then we will be, also by doing good at professional level, we would be able to give the best to community. And only when I, you and everyone in this community are healthy, the whole, it is complete as whole health. So it is not only me, but also I have to take care of myself, I have to take care of my profession. I should make sure that my company will not go down because of me, and I must make sure the community also should be healthy. That is considered to be whole health. So I hope you all will start sleeping early from today, and you will get up early in the morning and practice, do some sadhana for your soul evolution. Thank you. Have a nice day.